Hello, I'm going to start off today with a question. How much of your early childhood do you think helped shape you to make you who you are today? Probably more than you think. While most of us do not remember much of our early years, the early years of our lives are a critical time of development. During early childhood, children go through rapid physical, social, emotional, language, and cognitive development. In order for young children to be successful in life, they need the right start. With that said, early childhood education is important because it provides young children with a learning environment they need to grow into successful adults and members of their society. Through the classes in the Early Childhood Education program at Madison College, I have learned firsthand just how impactful the first years of life are, both for the children as well as for society. In this speech, I will discuss what early childhood is, and the development that occurs during this time, what early childhood education is, and the benefits of early childhood education for young children as well as society. First off, to define early childhood, early childhood is the first 8 years of a child's life. During this time, there's rapid development. Selena Lowe, an author and senior editor at the United Kingdom peer-reviewed medical journal, The Lancet, states, epigenetic, immunological, physiological adaptations to the environment occur from conception, and these adaptations affect development through the life course. In other words, development occurs right away and can have lifelong impacts, making the experiences children have early on years so important. While young children are developing in all areas, physically, socially, emotionally, and verbally, one of the biggest areas of development is their cognitive development, or their brain development. Young children are making thousands of connections within their brains during the early years. In fact, according to Neil Haffen, the founder and director of the University of California, Los Angeles Center for Healthier Children, Families, and Communities, the number of connections in a young child doubles approximately 1,000 trillion by the age of 3. These connections are impacted by the interactions and experiences the child has during these early years. For example, the more positive and nurturing the interactions and experiences are that the child has, the more connections made. Over time, the connections that are not used are eliminated. This means that if the knowledge that the child has gained from the experience is not used again, the connection in the brain that made that knowledge possible is eliminated. On the other hand, connections that are reinforced continue to grow stronger. It is essential that children form the right amount of connections. Those who have too many or too few may experience behavioral or cognitive disorders. This proves how important experiences are during the early years. As I've discussed, early childhood is the first 8 years of a child's life and is filled with rapid development. Now we will discuss what early childhood education is. Timothy Bartnick is an economist who studies the economic benefits of early childhood education. Bartnick defines early childhood education as any publicly supported program that has a principal purpose of providing children younger than the age of 5 with education services. Now that we know the general definition of early childhood education, we're going to discuss what quality early childhood education is. While there is no consistent definition among programs of what quality early child care is, there are a few factors that experts agree on that make up quality care. According to Robert Pinata, a researcher of the connection between education and human development, these factors are a program's structural elements, features of the classroom environment, the dimensions of teacher-student interactions that children experience directly, and aggregate indices. A program's structural elements include the length of the school day, qualified staff, and the class size. Full-day programs with qualified staff and small class sizes are the highest quality programs. The features of the classroom environment include an environment that is rich in stimulating materials and interactions. The more positive interactions between a child and a teacher and a child and their peers, the more the child develops and learns. Aggregate indices include quality rating scales. These rating scales can be used by a program to see where there are areas in their environment that need to be fixed. Another thing that is important to know when it comes to early childhood education is the child care trilemma. The child care trilemma refers to the connection and relationship between the need for quality care, accessibility and affordability for the families, and the fair and suitable compensation for the staff that provides the care. In order to be considered the highest of quality, early childhood programs must provide all three. However, many early childhood programs struggle to provide all three, hence the name, the child care trilemma. For example, a program may be able to offer affordability and accessibility for families, but are then not able to pay their staff a fair wage. This in turn impacts the quality of the program. We are now familiar with the fact that early childhood is the first 8 years of a child's life, and that early childhood education, according to economist Timothy Bardick, is providing children younger than the age of 5 with education services, and that the child care trilemma consists of the relationship between the quality of care, fair compensation for staff, and the affordability and accessibility for families. Now, we will discuss what makes early childhood education important to young children as well as society. Through early childhood education, children learn the life skills they need to be successful. To use an example by Bardick, the child's brain is more malleable prior to age 5 than in later years. Suppose an early childhood program increases the skills, cognitive skills such as math and reading skills, social skills such as getting along with peers and teachers, character skills such as patience, persistence, and self-confidence. All of these skills will help the child be prepared for future learning. When a child is prepared for future learning, they are more likely to be successful in school as they grow up. When children are more successful in school as they grow up, they are more likely to have a better job and higher pay when they grow up. As Bardick says, these higher earnings will also mean that they are a more productive member of society, which brings us to my final point. The benefits of early childhood education for society. Some benefits for society, according to early childhood education researcher Lynn A. Carley, include there's less need for special education services, there's an improved high school graduation rates, higher earnings, and less criminal activity in adulthood, and less need for social services. So what does all of this mean? When we invest in children, when they are young, the more successful the child is in their life. And the more successful a child is, the more successful society will be. To conclude, much has been discussed today. We have discussed what early childhood is, the rapid brain development of early childhood, what early childhood education is, what the child care trilemma is, and the benefits of early childhood education for the children as well as society. Early childhood is filled with rapid development, physically, socially, emotionally, and cognitive. With that said, early childhood education is important because it provides young children with the stimulating and secure learning environments they need to grow up into successful, productive adults of their society. If you remember one thing from this speech, let it be this: providing better futures for our children begins now. Investing in early childhood education is the most rewarding investment we can make. The payoff may not be immediate, but if we provide our children with quality starts now, we will all have a brighter future. Thank you.